It may be radiant, ladies and gentlemen, but I can assure you our mood is going to be good today. Piper J3, we're in a PA18 Super Cub, and we're going to be doing some cross country here in Alaska. That's right, we're in the north, very north tip of the North of Americas. So here we are, November 11, 18, N118 Papa Alpha Super Cub, and I'm inside the aircraft but also outside at the same time. It's looking a bit worn down. I've done the checks and unfortunately it's raining, so I guess we are doing IFR flight rules. And that's really peculiar because usually you wouldn't fly this plane in IFR since it's only equipped for VFR. Anyway, on the back here we are flying like the standard, really well known Piper livery, which is the yellow livery here. And one of the cool features is about this, I just realised, is the elevator. You see how there's disconnected almost from the rudder because it's all built into one piece. So it's sort of disconnected from the centre of the plane almost and held on by like a tiny hinge. Anyway, into the plane we go. Welcome in, and thank you to those who watched the playtest of Dead Stick, the bushfly pilot simulator. I am actually looking forward to that, and that was set and uses a Piper Cub. Whether or not it's a turbo, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it probably is. Here we are though in X-Plane 12's version. We're going to get this started, although it really is a simple plane. I say that, but I still don't really know how to fly or where things are because I don't fly it very often, so I'm assuming we stick the fuel to both. We have got cabin heat and carb heat, which seem functional. Up here we have, you know, the fuel. We probably will need to top up fuel now. You know, X-Plane 12, you have to do it all from this menu, so we're just going to put just myself in. If you have a pilot there on wait, there is actually nobody in the back, so it doesn't actually put a physical thing in there. Let's round it down then. So we'll round it down to about 76, and for cargo we'll put 20 kg in, and then for fuel we can just top it probably right up to full, and that should be alright. So now the fuel level should have changed. Okay, not really flown this much. And over the right side here we have, of course, the batteries. Master switch coming on. We have lights there. Let's get the nav lights and the beacon lights on. I just realised that's the fuel level there for both wings. That's pretty cool. How old-fashioned is that? Anyway, thank goodness we got cockpit heat. Let's crank it open. So today I'm using the Thrustmaster, like a really basic beginner entry-level yoke. As you can see, it's actually programmed in. The throttle's programmed in as well. So for the beginning, we're going to crank it open just a little bit. We're going to get the mixtures fully rich. Now, in this aircraft, I don't think there's a parking brake, so I think we literally have to just hold the pedals like so. So there's actually two there. You notice the brakes are there. I think I did just release the brake, so we could use, perhaps, let me just check outside, V for the chocks. Now, this aircraft comes with chocks. X-Plane's default, and it actually seems to put two on the front wheels. That's pretty realistic, so usually there's three chocks, obviously, because this one has two wheels, so I like that. So I guess that's how we hold it in place. Going back inside, again, a bit unfamiliar with the plane. We got a start thing, we do have a primer. Now, believe it or not, when I did that bush flight simulator, I really enjoyed it. I really did. It was premiered a few hours ago, and since like playing it, I didn't even finish the playtest, but I do think that's going to become maybe a regular on the channel when it's released. I really hope so, because it really is quite a good flight sim, and it gives flying a bit of purpose. So we're doing a bit of purpose today with a bit of bush flying. Let's prime the engine 3 times. Let's go for a clear prop. Clear prop. There we go. So she comes alive. Very loud engines. We'll get the foot brakes on, and as you can see, there's no pedals on the actual Rudder today. Very loud as well. Let me turn this sound down for you a little bit. Yeah, louder. And also the bush flight sim, I will mention it a lot going forward, but it was also better on the sound quality as well. Just overall, everything about it was fantastic. So there's this fuel selector. I wonder what that was down here then. And we need to figure out where flaps are as well. Maybe that That's trim, I think. So, oh, there's flaps, literally in gigantic white writing. So flaps are retracted. Avionics master on. Let's get the taxi lights on. There you go, transponder, and we'll put that on mode Charlie. Yeah, we're at 1228, so we're on the dark side at the moment. We're flying today from PAFE. You would have seen the... Hold on a sec, folks. Yeah, if you've seen the thumbnail, I'm going to get the flight plan up. This is so a bit peculiar what's going on my computer at the moment, so you have to forgive me. Let's bring it up for you. Windows. There's a flight plan, so PAFE to Gustavus PAGS with an interim of PASI on the way. So we got an initial course there of 259, and then we'll be going on a course of 335. Now today, I don't know if these are runways we can land on or water places. There is a lot of places here in rivers where, you know, we won't be able to land, of course, but if we can land there, we will. If not, we'll just do a flyover. So we set our initial course then to 259, and everybody keep the heading in mind for the next one, which is 335. So let's do that, and I'm having to use my mouse because the joystick doesn't have the commands on it. So 259. There is no heading bug, of course. That's a bit of a pain. Let's align the compass while we're here. Now we'll have to just remember then 259 is about opposite there. Q&H. Now there was pointless filing a flight plan. There's a sort of sea place I was talking about. Yeah, pointless filing a flight plan since there's probably not going to be any ETC here. Altimeter 2982. Quite low today, as you can see outside. Blimey, 2982. Look how far we're going to go back, guys. Look at that. Is that right? Am I doing this right? Or am I doing this wrong? 2982. What am I doing? What am I doing? 29. Right. Oh, we got it. We got it, folks. Don't worry. We're in. There we go. So there we are, about 100 feet off the ground. We actually do have a VOR in here, and we don't have an ADF needle, which is peculiar. So I guess we could track the VOR if there's one available. It does look like there's one over there for... There's an NDB. I mean, we could tune it in. I don't think we have an NDB though. Oh well, we'll be going up to whatever level is clear of the clouds. Let's get some heating on in here. I'm pretty cold, so let's bring the cab heat right up. Carburetor heat, usually we would probably... I think we probably would need that at the moment. We can tell it has an effect on the engine as well. You can hear it reducing, just to help perhaps crank up the oil temperature. Because it is running a little bit colder today. I don't know, maybe operation of that is not too much of a concern. Anyway, let's get going, folks. So we're going to be taking off from the best runway for our weather today, which is opposite where we are, so runway 29. Okay, let's taxi. Parking brake or chocks released. Advancing the throttles. That's really strange. When I have to use the menu, I thought I'd set it to remove the chocks when I toggled the button. Anyway, there we go. I've assigned the hatch switch. Tell you what, getting used to this joystick is difficult because it's so close. You have to sit so close to the desk, and I'm not used to it. And you got your rudder pedals below. Right, can we taxi this thing without crashing? I think we're doing all right for now. It's a loud plane though. So taxi lights on, beacons on, and navs, but we don't really have a strobe light, which could be a problem, I guess. Well, I suppose we're built for VFR. And we'll hopefully let the oil temp get into the green as well. Now, since there's no mags on this, which is interesting, I mean, there's literally nothing in here. So you don't even have to do a magneto check. It kind of makes me wonder how you would do an engine check. Maybe you would just wait for it to be in the green and that would be fine. You do have a cylinder head temperature gauge, a suction gauge, which is cool. But yeah, not much else in here. This is real bare bones bush flying today. And as you can see outside, we're surrounded by absolute wilderness. Come on, plane, we need to taxi a bit faster than this. Beautiful looking plane. I do like the Piper Cub, and they've got a Red Bull livery on here if you are wondering, so you can get down and dirty with the stunt aerobatics. Now, my understanding on this kind of a tail dragger plane is that when the plane tail lifts up, you're supposed to take off, but my experience is that sometimes the tail, and mostly, will lift off way before you're supposed to rotate. Although the Piper Super Cub seems to be, it is an aircraft which can take off literally within 30 feet if you really wanted to. We should have assigned a key for flaps as well. Welcome in, Sakius 007, good to see you. It is indeed a Super Cub. I wasn't too sure myself, my friend. It is one of the better planes on X-Plane 12, though. It's been really well modelled, as you can hear the sounds of things. Definitely based on a real one. The wind effects and the rain effects there are absolutely superb. That's why I'm so excited for that new Flight Sim Dead Stick, because it's going to be the exact same thing with an even basicer Piper Cub, so you won't even have a VOR in Dead Stick, you just have the ADF and of course your eyeballs. Okay, there we are, we're at the end. Let's go ahead and do a turnaround. As I say, we'll just take off regardless of the temperature and things. There's not really any checks we can do here. Rotate, I think, when the tail lifts off. Just got to keep that in mind. Okay, how are we doing on wind? It's actually zero, very, very light winds at the moment, so we should be pretty good. And then we'll be on a course of 259. Okay, advance the throttle. A little bit of right rudder to counteract the yaw. 2700 RPM. There we go. Oh my goodness, this is hard. Keep it straight, and she's in the air already. Wow, she's climbing. If you know me, I am really bad at flying tail draggers. This joystick is super sensitive too. Anyway, we're up, folks. We're up. We didn't stick the landing lights on, but we all will live. Taxi lights can come off. My goodness, this is brutal. Absolutely love it. We're inside this warm plane in the absolute freezing temperatures. Let's get the temperature on hot so we can melt some of this ice formation perhaps on the wings, because it's starting to turn into snow. Anyway, we rotated at barely 40 knots. And we're going to turn to a course of 259 and we'll fly up to 2,000 feet. Initially at least, just to see how it goes. There's not even an autopilot in this as well, so this is going to be very interesting. How am I going to land this thing? Again, totally not used to tail draggers. Really not used to them at all. Could use the trim button on my yoke as well. I think I probably should have planned this out a bit better. It is climbing stably. There we are, about 2,000 feet. Let's lower it out. And I'll just use the yoke to level off. Flipping heck, that is definitely turning into some severe weather. And we'll have to use the mouse for the trim. Who would have thought I was going back to mouse and keyboard to fly a simulator? I am disorientated. I don't know which way is up. Then again, it doesn't beat that postman with a plane flight. That's still... Then again, it might be, because this is more brutal than that was. Starting to get a reputation here on the channel. It's flying really stably when we're level, but not maintaining that altitude too well. I'm on my way, boys. We're just going to use the X.12's map as a reference. I can sort of see outside. We're at 3,000 feet now. That'll be alright. Do need a lot of trim in this. 2,300 on the RPM. That seems probably about right. We can see a little bit. There's a few islands around. There we are. That's a very, very difficult takeoff and departure there from the airport. Probably one of the hardest places to take off from in recent memory. And then we're going over there. Again, we can't really track the NDB, but we might as well tune maybe the VOR there. That will help us out. So it is in fact pointing it in the right direction already. I guess we won't be too concerned about altitude this flight. Just keep it as straight as possible for now. So green in the temperatures, green in the oil pressure. Everything looks good. Suction gauge is high. CHT has climbed. We're still climbing up, and we're not in the clouds yet. What does that say there as well? Drain all fuel sums before first flight of each day. Aggressive braking action could result in air. Yes, I learned that the hard way. Tail draggers, you do not want to brake, even at all if you can help it. Just let it slow down naturally by rolling onto some grass or something. Yeah, so landing a tail dragger, this is going to be a real challenge. I would not be surprised, ladies and gentlemen. Let's try and reduce the power a little bit. Reduce it to 2100. But yeah, I would not be surprised if I had my crash today in this plane. I really wouldn't. So we're using the VOR there as a reference to some extent. Jesus, we are in total clouds at the moment. Make me feel a little bit sick, this is. It's like being on the bloody roller coaster blindfolded. I really appreciate all the likes and, you know, people just stopping by during the streams and the videos. I was thinking about something. Maybe we could try this out. It's up to you. I'd really appreciate if everybody left a comment on the streams if you watch it. I really appreciate the likes, and that means a lot. But I want to see if it actually has any impact, because people are saying that it's comments and likes that are the ones that have the biggest impacts on the channel. But even with the amount of likes I get, which is, you know, it's a good amount, so again, I really appreciate that, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference. So I wonder if it would make a difference with comments as well, just to help boost it, because I feel like the channel is getting a bit suppressed, and it's been suppressed for a while now is what I'm feeling like. You know, it's been pretty consistent effort for over a year, so I think I should have had some payoff by now. But viewership doesn't seem to have gone anywhere. We're doing fairly good. Level and straight level heading 259. Now it is only 50. Let me check. 59 miles, I think. Yeah, 48 nautical miles, and then we'll be on 335 for 84. I hope it clears up as well, so you can see what we're doing. wonder if there's any mountains here. So there is going to be high terrain, you know, at some point, but we can't really see it because we've not got a weather radar. I'm going to climb, actually. Let's keep climbing. Maybe we can get out of this weather. Maybe 6,000 feet. We've also not got a pitot heat. I don't know if anybody's noticed that. Ice formation would be a real issue, I suspect, at this point. There we are, climbing fairly stable. 80 knots, is it? Or miles per hour? This is miles per hour, that one, which is handy. She keeps ducking and diving. She's struggling. My goodness, this is bad, isn't it? Let's see if the clouds actually clean up. Doesn't look like they're cleaning up at all. What about the iOS? Overcast at 1400. Few at 500 feet. Jesus, we're diving all over the place. It just says 600 feet overcast. It doesn't say where the clouds actually dissipate. So that could be at 6,000 feet. It could be at 7,000 feet. We don't really know at this point. Anyway, there we are, 5,000 feet. Yeah, I want to get an update meter on that airport. I think we can go pretty high in this, to be fair. As long as we don't go too high, you know, we'll run out of oxygen otherwise. Yeah, nice little bit of bush flying in Alaska. Seems like it's probably be harder than places like Africa. Africa would be nice because it'd be nice and sunny and clear most of the time, but in Alaska it's just always cold and raining most of the time, at least on the flight sims. Damn, camera, stay still. Bouncing all over the place. There we are, 6,500. We're still not through it yet. Literally overcast as 0 feet. So it's 0 feet. The ground is covered in clouds. That's not very good. We should be on standard pressure, I think, at this point. 1013. 2992. She's stable, but I think this Thrustmaster is definitely a oversensitive joystick. It is only an entry level and a cheap one, but still, I think it's worth not investing in unless you're going to buy a joystick. Just go for straight for a force feedback one if you're going to get one. To be fair, I don't use it often because I don't fly these kind of planes often. Mostly for, you know, helis and things like that. I feel like we should also switch maybe to just fake weather because this condition is a bit unbearable, isn't it? $7,500. Absolutely no sign of pulling out of this mess. Wind, cloud level at 9,000 feet. There we go again, just diving down. I suppose it's worth it for these sort of challenges, but if you are a flight sim pilot, do you do the same thing as me in these kind of conditions? We don't have a GPS. Are you constantly using the X-Plane 12 map, or you just sort of... Do you always fly with fake weather is what I'm trying to ask? Because I know a lot of pilots do, but I don't see the point in that. If it's a flight sim, I always like to fly with real weather, and you know, flying with fake weather just seems like a con, to be fair. I don't think should be allowed to do it. The amount of like real pilots on YouTube and the amount of real pilots that fly in sims with fake weather, it can't always be sunshine all the time, guys. I mean, come on. We're taking a long time to get there. Wind has picked up a little bit of a slight crosswind. Speed is dropping a bit, so that could be because we're building up ice. Ice could be building up there, so I guess the carburetor heat could come on. Melt off the ice. Let's go back down and hopefully break through it, because the cloud level is rising again. Speed indicator is broken, which means there's definitely ice in the speed pitot tube thing. Carburetor heat is on, and there's no anti-ice at all in here. Wow, wow, wow. Airspeed indicator failure and zero visibility. I think we lost our... No, we still got a heading indicator. That's still working. Speed is going pretty much to zero on that speed indicator. That is definitely wrong. Let's get a move on. Let's get down a little bit. I can hear a cracking as well. Like, it's either the rain or it's the sound of ice breaking off. Man, this is brutal. Bush flying in zero. Man, this isn't even bush flying at this point. This is just survival. Survival simulator. Feel like we probably do need to change the weather though. Practicality reasons. Come on, speed. Come alive again. We're climbing, we're descending. I know, guys. It's deliberate. We're trying to get out of this cloud level. There he goes. There's our hero. Probably about to slam into the side of a mountain. November 11-8, Papa Alpha, we will remember you. We will remember you when you die. Still nothing yet. Literally no airspeed, no backup instruments. There's not even an air temperature gauge in here. We don't even know how cold it is. That's why we have to use the iOS. It just says temperature 10, but that's not much use. I guess there really is ice buildup, but it only affects the GA plane. Then again, I can't get ice to build up on the default Baron or any of the others. Mostly just the Hypercube, I think. Getting really low down now. 3,000 feet. We'll level off. There, speed comes back alive. Ooh, we freed the instruments. Carburetor heat can now go off. So we had to go down like 6,000 feet then. almost. Carburetor heat must have done a little bit of work to have brought the airspeed back online. We are squawking. We'll squawk Mayday in a minute. Clouds. Saying there's few scattered, but I'm seeing nothing but clouds at the moment. There we go, land and water. Brilliant. We're out of them. We are out of it. We can actually see again. It's a miracle. Well, there's land. This is where we were before, folks, if you can see down there. Visibility is very, very poor at the moment. We'll maintain 2,500, which is kind of what we originally wanted to do. We just had to climb then to see what would happen. Now we can level off and get a bit more stabilised. Welcome in, Mr. Alaska. We are flying in Alaska today. Yippee. What recommend for a GA plane? Well, I have a few reviews on the channel for GA aircraft. Of course, I do have the, you know, the full cold and dark reviews. I think that basically my answer would be any of the aircraft on the channel that have had a full cold and dark review, basically, and that I've said would be recommended. There's not many, to be fair. There's only a couple on there, maybe 3 or 4 of them. With the new bush flight simulator coming out though, folks, let me know, are you excited about it? Are you looking forward to it? Are you going to try it? I'm really looking forward to it. I'm glad that it's been released as a playtest. I can't wait for the demo, because the demo will be a different thing and it will have different things in it. I mean, that will probably, I've got a bit of a prediction here. It probably will take the market and the gaming industry by storm, because we've not had a flight simulator to compete with X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator at all, really. There's a few of them, but they're just not anywhere near the same level as that bush flight sim was. It included a landing rating, it included like G-force effects. It just had so much in there which you would have to download as an add-on for X-Plane 12. And I said it on the video, but if that's the way it's going, I think they've already got a real good gold mine there, actually, in terms of potential. And I would not be surprised if it became like a real, when I say really popular, I'm talking about like thousands of people every single day playing it. I know I will be. It seems like an open world job game where you can complete jobs at your discretion, you know, repair your planes. And that's what I want from a flight sim. I do like flight sims, but they need to have purpose. You know, the X-Plane doesn't have a purpose. You have to make up your own stories and you have to make your own flights, but we need that creativity in the flight sim industry because it's just not there at the moment. And imagine if they added a multiplayer, it would blow up. It would actually blow up and be fire. People would be making reviews left, right and centre about it. It already is being made. People are already filling YouTube with videos of that game, and it hasn't even released yet. Here we are, folks. So there's some mountains ahead. That's probably not a good sign. This is where we got to fly over, and then on the other side we have our rival. We did a very, very wonky line there. My goodness, that's where it got really, really bad. Semi-straight for the most part, and then we'll get down to here and we'll land on runway, looks like runway 29. Lesson learned though, never fly a Piper Cub without good weather conditions, I guess. Go full throttle for a climb here, probably try and get to 3,000 again, 4,000 feet. Clear the mountain peaks. Wow, there's a lake there on that mountain. You see down there, folks, there's a bit of a lake. Oh man, that must be amazing. It is definitely turning into sleet, this is not your average rainstorm. Mayday, mayday, mayday. No, I'm not going to do that, guys, it's too early. Crash landing in the water. Flipping heck, this keyboard and mouse with the yoke is absolutely wild. Got a little bit more speed now, we need that to push through this weather. Actually, you know what, I will recommend, I will say an aircraft now, which is a little bit, it's not a great aircraft and it does need a lot of work and it's unlikely to have any future updates. But I really do like the Aerostar 601P that's on the store, and I have got it and I did a full cold and dark review of it. It's a very, very fast turboprop aircraft. Turbocharged engines. It's pressurized. It's a complex twin piston aircraft, but it's a really, really good one. It's just not very well made. If you can handle a very basic plane, which is not very well made, and, you know, it does have its flaws, but it is generally very fun to fly, then I'm sure you'll like it. There's some more clouds ahead as well, right where the mountain is. Flipping heck. Damn, we're going to have to climb for safety. Probably won't get over the mountains otherwise. There we go, into the abyss once more, lads. It was at this moment he knew he fucked up. Absolutely. Overcast at 1,000 feet. There's a little bit of a mountain below us. I can just about see the outline of the snow. Look at that. Unless that's water, I'm literally blind at the moment. Yeah, we've lost situational awareness. What happens when a pilot doesn't plan for a flight properly? Keep the blue side up, guys. Keep the blue side up. There we are. I think we're over the ridge now. We've still got to land on that bloody airport. Oh my god, there is a mountain there. Keep pulling up, Grantham. Keep climbing. It might be a little bit close. Let's try and hold it there, see if we can make it through this nightmare that I'm experiencing. There is a gap in the mountains. We might be able to slip through that in the green gap and then come down here, and hopefully, you know, it will clear up in the meantime. Just reduce the power a little bit. Lights coming on. You never know, it might provide some visibility to us. Yeah, I have heard very good things about that, Mr. Alaska. That's a very good, I think it's a good recommendation actually for people who want to do some role playing, some mission focused flights. I usually make my own up though. But I suppose we need that, we need it all in one where we don't have to pay for it extra. Yeah, the game, it would be better if the games just incorporated that aspect. Because that's how these flight sims, you know, it sounds bad and I have been wanting to make a video on it for a while. But this is how the flight sims do it. You know, they sell very basic products and then they charge you for everything else in order to get it to be a proper flight sim that it was meant to be to begin with. And you have to download loads of extras, and it's the same with Microsoft, you know, you still have to download stuff for that. And they've got loads of add-ons as well. But if the base game just incorporated it all and was a proper flight sim, which was a whole package, that would actually be a better experience for the people who are using it. Right, finally we have got visibility. There's a mountain, which is fine. We're getting a lot of mountain lift. I think that's what's happening. So we managed to make it through there somehow without crashing. I'm really tooting my horn a bit, but I'm impressed with my flying. Granted, we're all over the place, but we haven't crashed yet, which is the main thing. So here we are, we're coming down this little valley through the water, and then we're coming for runway 27. As soon as we go over this, we'll be able to dip back down and probably just sand down to, you know, lower altitude. Use that mountain lift now to create, well, to get altitude, a bit like a glider. You see how we're sliding along the edges? The wind is going to push up off of that hill, off of the mountain, and it's going to give us more lift, which means if we were to idle the engines, we could practically glide along it, but we're not going to quite test it out today, folks. We're not that cocky. There's the river. This is horrendous, isn't it? It may be warm because we've got the cockpit heating on, but we're going to be soaked when we get outside. I hope you brought your rain jackets. Who's in the back with me as well? Is that you, David? I think we got the solar David on board. Welcome. Okay, it's actually clearing up a little bit. Ah, Alaska, she never fails to amuse me. So entertaining to fly here. In a bloody Piper Cup as well. And this is something that flies in Alaska very often, you know, it does bush flights. Albeit not in rain and snow like me. If you do like bush flying, we've got a bit more coming up next week in the Beechcraft Baron 5.8 for the next episode. Okay, we keep looking at our map. Let's get a bit more aligned here. We don't have to follow the river at this point. We bring it back to, again, 2200. We'll just see how it goes. No idea what this airport looks like, no idea if it's a dirt path or a proper runway or not. It looks like it's right on the edge of that island. Runway 29, not 27, so it's right on the edge of an island, and then next door we have a seaport for Sitka. So first up, Sitka Rocky Gutierrez. Gutierrez. Runway 29. Here we come. Landing lights are on. Reduce the power a little bit and get down a little bit lower. Alright guys, fingers crossed. Can I actually land a tail dragger Piper Cup? It's not like landing a normal plane. You do have to have like a conversion training for it. With that real rear tail sort of wheel, you can't really afford to land flat. You have to try and land this on the front wheels, but also leaving like a quarter of an inch between the rear end and the floor. There's the runway. Just see it out the right corner of my eye. So we're about to do this, folks. Those on the wings, apologise for leaving you up there this long, but we'll be down on the ground in a minute for our first touch. Probably a full stop actually, and we'll see how the weather looks at the final destination, see if it's even possible. It may be possible at a low altitude, and then at least that way we get to see some scenery. So there's the runway now. Flaps are not assigned to a key, I don't think, so we have to do them ourselves. Yeah, we'll have to do them ourselves, I think. Anyway, there's the runway. Let's get a notch of flaps in. They're deployed symmetrically, stabilising the aircraft a little bit. You see the throttle's reduced to 1600. I think that's probably about right for approach and landing. It has got some lights on it, which is decent. And another notch. We'll only do 2 notches today. Maybe off to the right. I noticed actually on a few of my replays I have been off to the right or the left a bit too much. We should probably try and keep it centered for the approach. Even if you corrected it at the end, we should still keep it, you know, on center line. Something like that is a little bit better. We're just a little bit too high now, so we'll reduce our speed and altitude at the same time. Need a quick key for them flaps. I'll do that when we get on the ground. Filthy window, look at that. The rain has not cleared up the mud at all. I bet this aircraft's going to need an overhaul after this flight. Blimey. Oh, we're really pushing it. The idle on this as well is very, very low. It tends to be around 500 RPM. These are very forgiving planes though, the Piper Super Cub and the Piper Cub in general. You can just tend to land pretty hard because they've got those big bush flying tyres on them. We're not flying into a bush airport here, but you know, we can afford to land hard because of them. They provide that extra buffer. There we are, we're coming in well. Aiming for the landing zone. Between those 2 big white blocks is about where we will touch down. See some emergency lights at the airport, maybe a police, fire or ambulance service. Hopefully the airport's open. There we are, it's really, really blurry. The rain is blurring out those lights. Look at the graphics here, don't they look really, really nice? So on the runway and the plane, that's a really good screenshot actually for the Grantham CPT folder. There we are, going to let the speed burn off a little bit. Coming in, really, really nice, pretty airport Sitka is. Good trees on the side of the runway. That's a really perfect landing actually if we get it down smoothly. And we're down. Oh my god. Flipping heck. We are down. And I almost tipped her over. Woo. Welcome to Sitka Airport, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, blimey, I thought we were going to tip her over. That was actually a pretty good landing. Let's turn around. Let's get our taxi lights. We'll keep the landing lights on as well, I guess. Wow, what an amazing little approach that was. Interesting flight so far. We haven't crashed yet. Yeah, so when you come down, you have to keep pulling back. That's my mistake. If you let go and relieve the pressure too soon, it'll tip over. Love those tyres on the front. Yeah, that last approach there, extremely scenic. I've got it on like the max settings. I mean, it does look good with the plane and that runway, but the only thing that lets us down is the ground texture work. The ground texture work is just not very good. It really isn't. We are on to the online like network, but there's no controllers. I don't think there's an airplane here at the airport. No, that was actually decent, you know, for a Considering we had zero visibility most of it, we actually did pretty well there, so I straightened it up, came straight down runway 29 and we stopped pretty early as well. We will watch the replay because that was too good to miss. Pretty much right on target. Yeah, as you can see there, 500 or 600 RPM, a real low speed on this. Okay, caution when braking. Very, very light braking. And do they have a parking brake, everybody? Oops. Let's turn the fuel thing off. I don't know what this thing is now. I really don't know what this is. I thought that was the fuel. Parking brake, I don't know where that is. I can't see it. P is for pause. Let's go for reprime mode. Let's check out this approach. So here we are, coming in a little Piper Super Cub for our first landing, and you know, not doing too bad. Well, she almost did tip over there. Wow, that was a miracle. Really nice little landing though. You could hardly feel it when you touched down. Right guys, we have to go now on a course of... According to Sky Vectors, it's giving me a course. Let me show you the map here. Can we bring up the compass? We can. So we can show you the compass route of about 335. So we'll be heading in that direction there. And we could probably set it on the heading as well using the VOR. So we could set 335, which is the direction we need to go, which is pretty close to where we're heading now. Let's just cycle the carb heat while we're on the ground. Takes lights off. All the lights up there are on. There is I think a fuel shut-off valve at the bottom. No, that is the parking brake. That is so peculiar. Wow. So there is a parking brake after all. I figured it out. It's just in the most awkward position. Okay, so let's get going, folks. So we're on our final way now. So final stop. Papa Alpha Golf Sierra, Gustavus Airport, just north of here, past places like Elephant, and that was somewhere I was going to go as well, but I'm not thinking about Sisters Island today, maybe another day. Gustavus RCO, way up north, and that should take about 88 miles, 84 nautical miles. Let's get going. We'll climb and we'll just stay below the cloud level where possible. If it really is unbearable again and unflyable, we'll just turn the clouds off if we can. So advance the throttle. Brakes released. Little bit of right rudder. Keep the back pressure in. Oh my god, there it is. A rough start again, but we're up already. You see, she wants to climb like a rocket, the Piper Cub. Flaps are indeed up. Get the landing lights off. Yeah, and a nice little airport, Sitka. It looks like a GA place as well. Plenty of facilities. They've even got a jetway terminal, some hangars. There we go, 335 on course. I do believe I'm getting better at piloting, even though it might look like it's all over the place. I mean, real pilots do the same thing if they're in bad weather. They have to wrestle with the plane. I actually think Flight Sim is a little bit more difficult because you have to manage your keyboard and mouse as well. And if you're doing streams like this, you have to manage your microphones and all the other equipment you have. And single pilot as well. We may only manage 1,500 feet the entire way. I can't see any obvious massive mountains there that may get in the way. There is a few, but they're not near us at the moment. There we are, coming to 3,000, that'll be enough. Right guys, what I'm going to do is we're going to change the weather now because it's getting a little bit, it's getting unbearable, and we don't want to sit there if we can't see anything. So let's go for VFR few clouds. That's much better, isn't it? So one of the few times I would use fake weather, but I think we can all agree it was there, real weather the first half. The second half we'd use fake weather, it's not a problem. Now we get to admire the beautiful Alaskan wilderness. Look at that. And made the Alaskan wilderness while it's clear weather. The difference is unbelievable. This is how I would have liked it to have been from start to finish. Incredible. It reminds me of Indonesia a little bit, with all these sort of scattered islands. I suppose though, I mean, Alaska is not very far away from Indonesia. It's on that side of the globe after all. Even though it's freezing up here, it's dead hot down in Indonesia and places like that. Thailand, for example. You know what, we are losing a bit of power as we climb. I wonder if it's a normal thing in the aircraft. Then again, the carburetor heat is on, isn't it? I didn't remember that. Blimey. We're only supposed to turn that on for a minute. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. 5,000 feet. I am enjoying the pipe a lot. I think we should introduce this. I should start introducing this to more streams in the future. And we should do more flights up here in Alaska as bush flying missions. Would like to do that? Let me know what you think. Should I introduce this more? I think I should. They will be focused on maybe delivering things between small airports. Today we've had some pretty small airports, but mostly concrete runways. Hopefully I can find some which are really gritty bush runways, which are dirt runways, and that would be so cool. As you can see though, we're cruising with no issues, 5,500 almost. Pretty much uncontrolled airspace. There is no ATC in this region, and there's no I don't even think ATC needs to be in this region. It's just one of those free flying places. There are a few airways, but they're mostly going to Spassky Bay. It says it's a Gustavus RCO 12265. There's no other thing there I can see for a reference. There's not really any VORs. Elephant does have an NDB. I guess we tune that in on 391. We don't have an ADF in this aircraft. Fuel level's good. We did fill her up all the way. Mixtures, I don't know about leaning them in this plane. Maybe we should try it a little bit. And then again, it doesn't seem like the kind of plane you would, because you pull it back and it just It's having a little bit of an effect, I guess, if we lean it, but not much. Well, no, should we go down to the water, guys, and have a little fly about? Look at that, just expansive wilderness straight ahead. Straight ahead, just open skies, which I absolutely love. Imagine there's many films about getting crashed in Alaska in planes. Let's hope we're not going to experience that today. Right, there we are. On our way, 0 knots. Now we changed it to fake weather. 0 knots and the flight path looks a lot smoother as well. So there's the Sisters Island elephants, which I was talking about. And there's the waypoint, Pegs, Gustavus Airport. So as you can see, we will probably landing on runway 29 again. Maybe we will switch back to real weather for the landing. But yeah, not a very long flight at all. Let's cut through here and then maybe go down a little bit lower so we can see in the sights and sounds of Alaska a little bit better. This is what happens when you're 5,000 feet above the middle of nowhere in Alaska. You're a little bit on the edge because you know if you crash, land and you survive, you've got 0 chance of being found. So let's go ahead. Power goes to 0. This is that feeling kicking in, that fear. So we've got 0 power and we're kind of like, where do we need to make a landing? Well, if I'm honest guys, because there's nothing but trees everywhere, we would probably have to ditch the plane into the water. We're not going to do that today. I'm just sort of simulating what it would feel like, and it is pretty intimidating. So the water would literally be the only option we have. I mean, you could try and put it down there, but there's just too many trees, and you would break the plane. You would literally tear the plane apart before you'd even hit the ground. So yeah, I guess that's it. That's the fear kicking in. But thankfully, we don't have that fear today because we've got engine power. Really want to do a barrel roll in this as well. It's so tempting. Don't think we can get away with it though. hands are flying at the moment. She's actually handled it well, so we're maintaining a straight and level flight without any input. I'm not using the trim at all with my mouse. She drifts off again. We got a little bit of straight and level out of her. I think mostly that drift is from the wind, but it'll be mild wind at this point. Thank you for the METAR. PAG's METAR 11/6 knots, 3SM RABR broken 300 feet. So actually then again we don't need the METAR data because we're using fake weather at the moment. I did tune that in, that VOR thing, so... Or did I tune in? Let's tune it in. Tune nav 1. I didn't really want to go there, but we'll do it anyway. Who cares? It's useful to some extent. Let's drop it down to 4,000 feet. She's actually a pretty fast plane, the Piper Super Cub. I mean, we're doing 90 knots. 2200 RPM at 4,000 feet. We are using fake weather, but even before when we're on real weather, it was still going pretty fast. I think, you know, it's an underrated GA plane. Then again, it might be overrated to some extent. Flight sims always include it, but they could include so many more models. The Piper Cub, sure, you can understand it if you want to do bush flying, but we need something else to replace these common planes in flight simulators. We need something new and refreshing, a new model than a different brand of plane, instead of the same things over and over again. A little bit of variety didn't hurt. I think we went to cruise with 2400 RPM as well, which is insane. We can cruise with 2400 if we want to. Let's see what speed that gives us. Probably over 100 miles an hour. A little bit more stable as well. About 110, so it is a pretty fast cruiser actually. Keep that throttle at 24 so it doesn't overspeed it. I want to just try a stall before we get there. Let's see if this stall in this is better than the Dead Sick playtest. I did a very quick stall in that playtest and it was actually pretty realistic. So let's try it on here as well. So there we are, 60 miles an hour. It's a very, very stable plane. It's going to be very hard to stall it. There we are, we're pulling back. We're pulling back, we're pulling back. Blimey, 40 miles an hour. There's the buffering, and we're going to wing drop. Woo! Opposite rudder and some thrust. Don't let the nose come up too quickly, otherwise you'll enter another stall. That was pretty exciting, wasn't it? That was really cool. There's no stall warning though, which is unfortunate, and also there's no angle of attack indicator, which is interesting. Again, just pointing out the differences between this and the bush pilot simulator that we tried, which does include an angle of attack indicator, and that plane actually does have a stall warning on it as well. Imagine if you do it with flaps on, that would be such a drop, wouldn't it? Blimey. Cheers, Mr. Alaska. You have a fantastic day. My mum, we're probably going to be landing soon. You can watch the replay of it later if you want to. It's always good to see new people on the channel, and new people who perhaps are not into aviation, just getting into flight simming and planes in general. One of the few real simulations left in the gaming industry is flight simulators. They really go quite hard actually, some of them at least. Now we're really picking them on some of that lift. Look at our speed as well. Mountains are pushing us higher and higher, and faster and faster. I will definitely try and improve the Thrustmaster yoke sensitivity for the next flight, because when I move it, like going on the pitch is not too bad. It's still quite sharp, but it's the ailerons. You can see there it's really quite a sharp input, and it seems to have quite a big dead zone, so you have to move it quite a bit to get any response out of it, unless the dead zone is very small when it's causing it. Either way, hopefully this should be sorted next time. This plane seems very nimble. Let's reduce the power a little bit. It seems very nimble though for a bush plane. And how are we doing on fuel? Literally, I think maybe getting down to a half tank, if that's functional. Doesn't actually look like that's functional, but it might be. It might be. I guess it is. Yeah, so the map there, there's the sisters, and from there we can, maybe that's one of the approaches actually into the airport, is to fly to the VOR. It could be a VOR approach into runway 29, for example. And then down there we have like an alternate Hunar next to the Hunar docking glens for the boats. Look at this super slow flight as well. Super cool plane. Really able to fly this like that kind of a speed and bring it in practically at 0 knots or 0 miles an hour sometimes. There's some cool videos on YouTube of it where people take off the Piper Cup for competitions in less than 2 feet of space or 10 feet of space or something crazy like that. So literally they just push the power and the plane just goes straight up in the air. incredible views. Some of the best places in the world are the most secluded. No cities, no towns. Maybe the occasional plane, but that's about it. As you see, we're just sort of flying around visually now, VFR. Having a little bit of a look round, testing it out. Really cool little place. I said we could have probably landed the trees, but we might test that theory offline. I think I will actually. When the stream lands, I'll probably try and land down there somewhere. There's a bit of a bald spot on some of these mountain tops, but not really much. There's the water ahead, so that'll be where, like, further down there will be where the sisters VOR is, and then we'll be heading on the left hand turn then to final. There it is, just off to the right. I guess we can carry straight on then. And hopefully, I think that's probably where the airport is on that stretch of land. So there's the, like, well, there's some civilization down there, there's some boats. Well, I think the one we want is over there on that piece of Baroque rock. That'll be where we're landing. Have to use that trim as well. Blimey. There's the island. That's the beautiful final destination. Just over the edge of that little Rockington is our destination airport. And I think I can see it. Yes, I can. That's either the airport or just something that looks like an airport. Straight in, my boys, straight in. Do put our landing lights on now. We're pretty far away. We are pretty far out at the moment. I'm going to try and lean the mixtures again, though. Can lean them a little bit, and it gives us a bit more power. Why not? Let's stick our landing lights on early. We're getting towards it now. Proper Alaskan wilderness. There's absolutely nothing out of here. There's no cities. There's just very small specks of towns and probably villages and fishing villages, like down there, for example. It obviously doesn't look like that in real life. There is in fact a runway over there as well. But yeah, this like little area is the only speck of hope out here, I guess, if anything goes wrong. And that is called... that is Hunar. I've never heard of it, never been there, obviously. I've never been to Alaska, but I would love to visit. Anyway, I'm going to put the mixtures fully rich again, and we can bring the props back to under 100, and we can start descending down now to probably 3,000 feet. It does require a heck of a lot of trim though, the Piper Cub. Alright guys, we're coming in now at last. We're just about getting ready for final. It's taken a long time to get here. I thought it'd be quicker than that. That is a very chunky runway as well. That is really chunky. Obviously it's not the width of that, but it's got a lot of space around it. Let's try and get a nice decent landing in the pipe up again. We'll come in at an angle and then we'll butter it as usual. As usual. Such a basic plane, but very, very enjoyable. I do like it a lot. I like it when it works. When we can't see anything, it's not that I don't enjoy it, but it can be a little bit impractical. And don't forget folks to leave a like and a comment underneath the video to show you've enjoyed it and to give me suggestions for next flights. Thank you to those who watch and those who are new. I do streams 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays at 4 PM GMT time. And we do other streams throughout the week. We do some survival horror stuff which I'm getting into on the channel. Usually about 7 PM. With a few videos in the interim. Maybe we should drop a notch of flaps. We're getting close and we're getting down to about 80 miles an hour. This is probably easier than a 172 actually, I don't know. The 172 actually seems very complicated compared to this, so maybe this is like the ideal plane to start learning on. In fact, maybe this is just the ideal plane to buy for a beginner. Buy a Piper Cub instead, but I don't think any of them are being made anymore. Like, these are very rare, hard to find these Piper Super Cubs. They'll be out there in Alaska and Canada and Africa and they'll be doing bush flying missions. Probably won't be many left because many of them have probably crashed by now. Now, one of the things about this one is the oil temperature and pressure do in fact change. So when we were reducing the power before, the temperature of the oil was going down quite quickly. So it is realistic in that operation sense. There she is. Let's keep the power where it is. In fact, we'll bring it back to 1600. The Piper is very, very lightweight, so like it can maintain its speed and power speed and altitude like quite well. So you have to struggle sometimes to get rid of speed and altitude. I'm hands off at the moment and we're barely getting 500 feet a minute. Speed's alright for now, but we want to descend quicker than this. So as you can see, we really do have to actually use proper stick and rudder techniques to fly it, which is good. It is very much a stick and rudder plane. Watch now the temperature, so the temperature in the oil is dropping. I've idled the engine. We're still not descending very fast. Speed is not really burning off at all. It would be very, very hard to stall this plane. I mean, we did it earlier, but we were like 40 miles an hour when it happened. We will just glide in for this moment. Just get our speed down a little bit and our altitude. Let's go for another notch of flaps. Wrong way. There we go. Flaps are slowing it down a little bit. That's good. Yeah, outpaced by seagulls. Probably true in this plane. I think we could probably run faster than this. I think cheetahs run faster than this, don't they? Cheetahs go, what, 60 miles an hour? Then again, I mean, Cessna 172 goes 60 as well. Yeah, we are well too high. Look at us. Probably about 1,000 feet too high at the moment. Let's just get all the flaps in. We are full flaps at the moment. I can't get over the stability though. The Piper really is like hands are flying. I'm literally not doing anything at the moment. And this is a really good descent rate. So hands off with full flaps and engine idle about 700-800 feet a minute. That's ideal actually at 60 miles an hour. Of course we don't want to do that in case the engine freezes over. Beautiful, beautiful airport. Love that grass below us. A proper airport. We don't see many airports like this, with the runway surrounded by concrete. Absolutely amazing. I love these airports. This bigger sort of runway could probably accommodate things like an Antonov. Anyway, we're above the threshold just about. Let's idle the engines. And we'll come down nice and softly. Now remember, you got to keep pulling back on the yoke so you don't tip it over. There we go. Keep pulling it back, keep pulling it back, keep pulling back. Just don't let go of the pressure, and we're down. A little bit rough on that one. A little bit rough at the end. Alright, well, welcome to Gustavus Airport. Let's taxi off the runway. Ah, that's not the taxiway. Well, I guess it is. This is something we can use. And we turn the taxi lights and things off. So taxi lights on. Landing lights off. Flaps go into retract. Seems like there is only two notches of flaps in this plane. There is meant to be 3. But they've obviously programmed 2 notches into 1. I like that little flight. That was enjoyable. A good 2-hour session out here in Alaska. It started off rough. I'll try and plan a real world weather flight for when it's actually better weather. And we'll try and get into some of those remote airports which are a bit more dangerous, shall we say, where there's grass and mud. And we have the potential to get very dirty. You know what, let's just go ahead and taxi over here. I think we're allowed to. There's a small building. So the oil temp's now getting into the yellow zone just in time. I'm going to remember where the parking brake is. It's down here. Parking brake on. Sexy lights. Transponder to off mode. We didn't even need that. There's the battery amp. How do we do this? It's a mixture, isn't it? Well, then again, I suppose we could pull the fuel off as well. Nice shaky shutdown, fuel to off. Whatever the switch is here. Instrument descriptions. That's oh, that is magnetos. There is magnetos in this. I didn't think there was. So we could have done a magneto check, I guess. Oh well, not the end of the world. And then lights coming off. Chop the aircraft up. Wow, what a nice little flight, ladies and gentlemen. We arrived in one condition. It is quite a cool little place. We'll have to come back here. Maybe that little runway there would have been a bit more suitable. Either way, it looks like a cargo airport. There's barely anything here. Let's go ahead and watch the replay. I want to see how good this was. I think the first landing was alright at the other airport, but this seems to be a tiny, tiny little bit better. We get close because it'll take a while otherwise. Maybe about there. Love that suspension effect to the back then, bouncing all over the place. As I say, these Piper Cubs are very, very sturdy planes. You would actually struggle to crash these, I think. You would struggle to break the landing gear, that's for sure. These things are built very, very sturdy. Those tyres, they could handle very, very rough conditions. We should take this over to the hotter regions as well at some point, down into Africa and maybe a bit further south. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you to the regulars. It's been a lovely general aviation bush flying flight. Thank you. Don't forget to comment and don't forget to join me for the next episode. Wish you all the best. Take care.